Forced to work from home by your employer? Laid off or feeling depressed at home? Do you want to make money working from anywhere? We'll show you how to do it from your couch. It's time for another episode of the Work From Home Show. Coming to you from their homes in Austin, Texas and Tampa, Florida, here are your hosts, Adam and Naresh.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Work From Home Show. I'm Adam Schrader, here with my co-host, Naresh Vissa. Hope you've listened to the first episode where we talked about why we're doing this show and how it can be important to you. Today, we want to talk a little bit about who we are and why we think you can make money from home while keeping your full-time job. So I've got a wife and 4 kids. Right now they're all under the age of 10. I got a 9.5-year-old, a 7.5-year-old, and twin 5-year-olds. And most of my days, listen to this, folks. This is how sweet life can be. I wake up in the morning, do a little bit of work before 8 a.m. So usually I get up around 6. Work 6 to 8. Kids get up, spend the morning with them. You know, they go down. I make them have rest. We homeschool the kids.
So I was going to say, that's an important point to make. You homeschool your 4 kids.
Yeah. So I homeschool them. We have lunch. We make them do rest time. During rest time, I work. So, usually that's about an hour. So I work for about an hour. They get up. We do our afternoon stuff. Have dinner, get them in bed. And then that's usually like 8:30. And then I'll do a little bit of work then. So in a whole day, I'm working, 4 hours at most, I would say. Now I'm not making, killer money. I'm not making you kind of money because the dedication I've put into this isn't what you've put in. You've put blood, sweat, and tears into yours to get it where you are. I've put a little bit of hand wringing.
well, let's make a clear distinction. So when I got started in March 2013, I was in my mid-20s. I was single, and I lived alone. Whereas when you got started, you already had a kid.
No, I was about to have a kid. I was married with the kid. He was born 4 months after I started working from home.
Okay. Well, you were married, and I should mention that both of us are married to healthcare professionals. My wife is a physician at the hospital nearby here where we live at Tampa General, and your wife is a nurse anesthetist. Is that correct?
Hey, you said it right.
Yeah.
A lot of people slur it when they try to say anesthetist.
It's tough. That's a tough word.
Yeah, so she's the main money winner. She's the main money winner in our house.
Well, even I didn't know my wife when I got started. In fact, I met my wife almost 4 years ago. I didn't know her, obviously, when I got started 7 years ago. But yeah, continue with kind of your regular day.
Yeah, so, that was pretty much it. Usually I stop working around 10, somewhere in that range, and then I hang out with my wife until we go to bed at like 11:30 or so. And, can't complain about it. I hang out with her whenever since she's in healthcare, she usually gets home at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock. And we spend the afternoon, early evening together with the kids, and then we spend a little bit of time in the evening. And it's, it's a life that I enjoy living. I'll put it that way.
That's great.
My house could be a lot cleaner. Don't get me wrong, people. My house could be a lot cleaner if I did better in that. But all in all, it's good stuff. It's a good life.
Very good. Well, in my case, I've been married for 16 months now, and I've known my wife for almost 4 years. We recently had a baby boy just 8 weeks ago, so he's 2 months old. But like I said, I've always been working from home, so I brought up that you kind of had to transition to working at home, whereas I was working from the dorm 12 years ago. And so for me, it's actually been a way of life. I just got so used to it in the dorm. I got so used to doing it at the library when I was in college, moving around different places. I lived in Baltimore. I lived in Durham. I lived in Syracuse, New York, Houston. I've had little short stints in Dallas, San Francisco, Palo Alto, California. And Tampa's been home for me for the last 5.5 years. So, and I lived right on the beach in Tampa for 4 years. and the beach had Wi-Fi. So that was my work from home. It was on the beach. So to me, this is a way of life. And so now that we've talked a little bit about, well, I should also say a little bit more about my family. So we do have a baby boy. And so I'm new to this whole stay-at-home dad thing. And when I say stay at home, I mean I work from home. But you, Adam, have been doing it for almost 10 years now, being at home and and you have multiple. I just have a newborn baby. I mean, all my son does right now is eat, sleep, and poop. And,
all the basics.
So I haven't really had to do a whole lot. I mean, I did have to learn how to do all that to keep him alive. But my mother-in-law's been in town and she's helped a lot, and it hasn't been too bad. But when it comes to stay-at-home dad stuff, stay-at-home husband stuff, you definitely have 9.5 years of experience on that.
Yeah. You know, if you told me 11 years ago that I would be a stay-at-home dad who homeschooled his kids, I would never have believed you. It would never, in my wildest imagination, would I have thought that was going to happen. It was so far. But, I mean, we're talking to people who right now, you know, they may not be at home working in their own choice. And if you are working from home with your own choice, that's fantastic. If you're not, you need to look at why you're working from home and if you can make it stick. Because to me, that's the big thing. Right now is your chance to prove to your employer, I don't need to come into the office. And as soon as you can prove that to them, they don't have a whole lot of leverage over you in a lot of ways, because you say, hey, you let me work from home whenever everybody was scared. Why can't I try to work from home now? Even if it's 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 1 day a week, just get out of the office. Because as soon as you get out, you can start working on other stuff too. That's my thought.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. And
because let's go back to office life. You worked in the Biz Radio office. Sorry, the company we talked about before was Biz Radio. If you think about a corporate day, you know, how many hours were you working a week when you were my intern?
I was working anywhere from 40 to 45 hours a week, depending on.
How many hours were you in the office? You were charging 40 to 45 hours a week, right?
Okay, so I was good point right here. So I was billing 40, I mean, that's what everyone does, 40-hour work weeks.
Yeah. How many hours did you work?
Look, I was an ambitious intern, so I actually worked a lot, but realistically, I probably only worked about 20 of those hours. Yeah,
that would be my guess. In a given day, if you look at what you actually do at work, I mean, there are some jobs where it's not true, but those jobs usually you don't work from home. Like our wives, you can't do their job from home. You can't fake, you know, your 8-hour days. You're working. But man, when I look at my time working in a corporate office, at all of the corporate jobs I have, I could have been in and out of there in 3 hours a day if I could have just done what I needed to do and not had the office drama, office politics. I mean, that's one of the best things about not being in the office is all the office politic bull that you have to deal with. You don't even realize how much there is. I mean, even just coming back to the real estate stuff that we're doing now, where we have more of a, you know, team that's everybody works from home, but the team, I mean, just as soon as you get the team dynamics, just drama, politics, I do not miss it.
It's still way better than working in an office.
Agreed.
Man, I mean, now that we're going down this trail, I didn't just work at Biz Radio in the office. I worked at one of the largest, most well-known banks in the world, JP Morgan. I mean, actually, yeah, we'll go ahead and say their name, JP Morgan Chase, in New York City, in the heart of Wall Street. Now, I was based all around Manhattan, Jersey City, Brooklyn, Metro Tech. And I worked there. I've worked in Silicon Valley on site for clients. So after I started my business, I was an on-site consultant. I've worked there. I've had a lot of corporate office experience. My first internship was when I was 16 years old at a marketing company in Houston. And you're absolutely right. I do not miss the commutes. I don't miss waking up early. I don't miss, like you said, the drama, the politics. I mean, it's just so stupid what you have to deal with going into the office. I mean, the dumbest stuff about people are judging you based on what you wear, how you smell. In my case, what you eat for lunch, because I would eat the same thing every day for lunch, and people had problems with that in the office. And I mean, there was one woman who worked below us who would also eat the same thing, except whatever she ate would stink up the office. And they had to warn her and tell her to stop eating on site because people couldn't, concentrate on their jobs or whatever because of the smell. And so she, had to go eat somewhere else. And so that's the type of BS that you have to deal with in an office. And I don't miss that at all. And going back to what you said, I mean, to be honest, when I was at JP Morgan, I was paid for 40 hours a week. And I think I did like 3 to 4 hours of work that week, every week, because I mean, there just wasn't much to do. And it's just, I remember telling my father, who's, I mean, basically like a corporatist, very educated person who just always had a job his entire life. And he was like, oh yeah, the oil and gas industry, which is what he works in, like 70% of the people don't do anything. They just show up and shake hands, say hello, and they might put in a couple of hours and they collect their paycheck and they go home. And wow, like I saw it firsthand. Like I can't believe people get paid to do nothing. And that's great, that's good for them. But when the shit hits the fan, like right now, when the coronavirus comes and all of a sudden companies need to ask people to work from home or they need to start laying off people, then the A-level players are the ones who stay on. And look, even if you are an A-level talent, you brought up the politics and the BS you have to deal with in the office. You can be an A-level talent and be pushed out because you don't fit that mold of the corporation. You might be better than your boss, and that's a huge threat, or you might be too good, and that is a threat to the other people who you work with. And you have to deal with all that BS working at a company or going into an office.
Yeah, and even if you like your job, while you're at home, I want you to take the time and, look at what you have to do in the day and see how long it takes you. And, your job might be an hour in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and there might be time-specific things. Like you might say, every day from 9 to 10 a.m., I have to do this. And from 1 to 3 p.m., I have to do this. But look at it and say, hey, I've got, if I worked an 8-hour day, I have 4 hours that I don't do anything in reality. In that time, I'm talking to other people, I'm doing this, doing that. When you work from home, most of the time, you're on a contract basis. So you're getting paid by the project. So, if you're making 60 grand at your job and you can do it in 4 hours, then you're getting 60 grand whether you spend 4 hours or 12 hours a day.
Yep.
On it. So if you've got 4 extra hours, and if you're working your job and you're making 60 grand and you're working from home during the coronavirus scare and you're doing it in 4 hours, you've got 4 more hours a day that you could go out and pick up another job similar to what you're doing now and double your income.
And it's not just, it doesn't have to be a job. It can be taking care of your kids. It could be improving yourself. And we're going to talk about that throughout this season, because my company wouldn't be where it is today if I didn't have that extra time at home to read books, read newsletters, take courses, to learn more, to improve on my craft. Working at a job, when you have to go into an office, you can't do that. In fact, you might even get penalized if you're trying to do that. So it's just, I mean, we're really shitting on offices and corporations. But just going back again, you said that when you work from home, if you're a contractor working from home, look, I want to make the clear distinction between working from home for yourself versus working from home for a company. And I've done both. So working from home, working at a company is great because now you're at home and you have that steady paycheck, right? And you don't really have to do a whole lot. And you have a lot of free time to yourself. But I also want to state that when you work from home for yourself, or when you're just working for yourself in general, you actually have to do work to get paid. So when you're at a company, I said, I think I worked like 3 hours a week when I was at JP Morgan. But I got paid for 40 hours a week. That was JP Morgan type of salary. So what I'm saying is, to me, it's mind-boggling that so many people I know who work at companies and who work at corporations, they don't know what they even do. Like, they say they're a marketing specialist or a marketing director, and they don't know anything about online or digital marketing or technology. They say they're an IT professional and they can't even code HTML. Whereas if you're an independent contractor working from home, you only get paid if you deliver on the work that's asked of you. And so it's a good thing and a bad thing because it's not as stable. But on the other hand, companies during tough times, like right now, during recessions, during coronavirus, they're looking for those people at home who know exactly what they're doing and who can bring value to the table immediately. If you can do that, you're always going to find yourself with projects, with a job from home. That's just the way it's going to be.
All right, we're going to leave it right there for this episode of the Work From Home Show. Please join us again for the next episode of the Work From Home Show. If you want to give us any feedback, feel free to email us at hello@workfromhomeshow.com. Check out our website, workfromhomeshow.com. Sign up for our mailing list. You can get a free copy of Naresh's book, 50 Shades of Marketing. And also, please leave a review for us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, whatever podcast platform you're using, so you can tell other people about why our show is useful. Until next time, keep on working.